Hello everybody, this is Dino GTO, and this is going to be my first video kind of covering patch 9.16 for World of Tanks. Now, this video is not actually in the client, it's just going to be in Tanks GG, as you can see there, well, right here. But yeah, this is just going to be showing off like some of the main changes they made to armor models when they changed them to HD. There's a couple of really interesting changes that I think are a bit strange, but I can. I'm a wee bit confused by one in particular. I will get to that one last, I think. But yeah, let's just get all the easy changes out of the way first, and just get straight in. Like get to the more controversial ones at the end. Now, F43. I'm on. By the way, I should probably just say I'm only doing the really important ones. I'm leaving out the stuff that had no armor at all. So yeah. There's no real point in covering those because everybody knows they had no armor anyway, so yeah. Okay, F43 is practically identical to what it was pre-HD. May have improved the angle slightly, and its strongest armor is still this little strip here. So that's really about it for this thing. Mantlet, I think, may have lost its armor behind it, so now you could probably shoot into the mantlet a bit more reliably and go through and do damage. Sort of like with the KV2. KV2 has a sort of weakness. Well, nobody really shoots the gun mantlet of anything really in this game because it's just so random, but yeah. F43, practically identical. Matilda 4. This is a premium vehicle, which is extremely rare to see, so the main changes for this thing are its hull actually got changed to a different model of Matilda, as far as I'm aware. So the front of it is entirely different looking from the front. The side armor got a lot weaker as far as I'm aware, unless I'm totally misremembering how the Matilda's armor is. Let's just look at the tier 4, just for comparison's sake. Where are you at? There you are. And 3D model. Oh, no, never mind. Practically identical armor-wise from the front. But of course the Matilda 4 is a tier higher, and it gets the most disgusting looking turret I've ever seen in my life. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, this here, I think, tripled in size in the HD. This thing is massive now. This thing has been practically irrelevant for a long time, so it's not really much to go over, except if you want to shoot this thing, go and pen it. You only have like 60 pen. Just get to the side, shoot there, or get to the back, shoot there. That's about it, really. Or if you have a gun bigger than bigger than 61 millimeters, then you can just overpin this area here or here. So yeah, not really much to talk about for this thing. So let's move on to the next one. Type 5 G-Ray. Really not much to talk about here either. It's exactly the same, except I think they made some of the armor zones for the thicker armor even smaller. Like, what's the thickest armor on the machine? It's 150 millimeters. And that area, you wouldn't even know it was there unless you were looking for it. So yeah, the front of the turret, most of it's 75. Front of the hull, 75. Side armor still 35, which is terrible. Rear armor 35. Turret armor with the... Okay, that's weird. The rear turret armor is actually thicker than the side turret armor for some reason. Weird. Ah well. Not really much else to say on this thing except that it had paper armor before and still has paper armor now. So yeah, KV2s are still going to pin you frontally. So good luck with that. VK3002M. Oh, I actually loaded the visual model for this. Not really much to talk about in terms of armor anyway. It's got 60 armor all over the front. I'm not entirely sure, but I think the lower plate may have been a wee bit weaker before. It's a wee bit stronger now. But this is tier 6. This is where the heavies have like 170 pen on average. So yeah, having 60 front armor and 40 side armor means nothing at this tier. You're just going to get paid by like butter. But this thing did get one interesting buff, and it got 1 degree extra gun depression all around, which could come in pretty handy in the right circumstances. But yeah, still kind of sad about this thing though. I feel like it could have had a lot more potential at the tier it's at if it had just had Panther, like full Panther armor, as in like this thing was like like say if they called this like the Panther House of A or something like that there, and just had full Panther hull armor and the weaker turret or something like that there. It would have been more fitting for the line, but yeah, they did what they did. So this thing still has kind of trash armor. It doesn't really meld with the line that well, other than the sniping role. So yeah, on to the MX-50 Foch. This thing still has the overpendable side armor, which is only 40mm thick, which anything bigger than 120mm gun will just go through like butter. So yeah, that's the main weakness of the French tank destroyers, and it's still there. We're shooting at one of these today. It's the first one I've seen in months, and yeah, I just absolutely annihilated it. It was in my bat chat or bat tap, the tier 9 bat chat, yeah, and I just shredded it. It was so easy. I think this area actually may have gotten a little bigger, but don't quote me on that. And this area here got a wee bit more rounded, I think, but no real substantial changes other than the addition of slight side armor buff here and here, where the tracks have been located as far as I'm aware. So I'm just going to take a quick look at that and see if it's true. I'll give that a minute to load. We'll talk about the Panzer B2 while it's loading. Now, Panzer B2, practically identical as far as I'm aware. It's got almost the exact same armor as the B1, except now it has this area here is stronger than it used to be, and this is the main weak point for this machine now. This 45mm area here is now definitely the weakest point, along with this area here. So those are the places you want to shoot, but only if it's angled. Only if it's not angled at all. If it's angled like this here, you cannot pen this thing really. If you have like a 70 pen gun, you're not going to pen it really. So it's a dodgy machine to fight still, but if you can get that side armor, it's just going to go through. Most tanks have like 70 pen, I think, at this tier, so still going to be a kind of annoying tank to fight, but overall, still pretty killable. Like this like thing on the top of it here is, you can see it from anywhere basically, so yeah. Now on to the S51. S51, you may be wondering why I'm looking at an artillery face. The main thing about this thing here, they removed the no armor zone around the gun, and between the gun shield, or basically between the hull, the gun shield, and the gun. This area here that you can see flashing now, that there used to be a big giant armor hole in the middle of this thing. So you're never going to have the experience that you used to have before, where you'd be shooting at one of these things and your shot would pass straight between the gun shield and the hull. It's never going to happen again. Glad they fixed that, because that was extremely annoying. I had a situation the other day in, what was it? I was something armed with like a 120mm gun. I was firing at one of these. Oh, it was M103. I was firing at one of these, M103, fired at. Shot went straight between the area, and the guy just turned around and blasted me. Yeah, I just got. Yeah, I was not happy about that. I was raging. So let's just see. Just take a quick look. Does the mantle change at all with the 152? No, it does not. So yeah, really appreciate that change. Less bullshit, basically. Just going to go back to the MX-50 Foch before I get to the last vehicles. Yep, the two areas I pointed out earlier are just areas with tracks added onto them. So yeah, that just confirms what I said. Now on to the second last vehicle, Panzer 3-4. This thing got a significant buff in this patch. This thing here now has 10 degrees gun depression all around, up from 6. That is gigantic, and it does sacrifice having some side armor because of that. Like this whole area here used to be 60, here and here, but this here area used to be 60 as well, along with this area. But I believe this lower side was like 30, so yeah, they've just basically extended like the 30 zone up to the side, although they've actually made the bit behind the tracks 40 millimeters now, so that's kind of interesting. But yeah, it basically gets the Panzer IV H turret. Does not get the derp gun, sadly. I was kind of hoping for that, honestly. But yeah, this thing is basically going to be the faster. Um, it's the faster alternative with the more rapid firing gun to the Panzer IV H now, and I think that it's probably a pretty good change. And it's now going to be a bit more survivable versus artillery and 105 derps. So yeah, and people firing heat, of course. So I think that's a pretty good change. So time for the last and I think the most controversial change, the 112. Now, the 112 was basically renowned for the longest time for being the worst tier premium, other than the Cannonen Jagdpanzer, in the game. That's what it was known for. Not anymore. This thing, as far as I remember, from what I've read, actually has better hull armor than the tier 10 version of this hull. I might be a wee bit wrong on that, but I read some other people saying that this thing actually has better hull armor than the tier 10. Let's just look at this thing here, put them side by side. Yeah, well, not sure if that's just the... Nope, the hull is practically identical, but you can see lower plate in this thing is orange, whereas the lower plate in this thing is yellow. That's because this entire thing's front armor is 120 millimeters, whereas this thing here has 120 millimeters up here and 140 millimeters down here, as well as getting a buffed side armor. Now it's all 100 millimeters along here. As far as I remember beforehand, it was like 80. And the areas that are 60 are all auto bounce ricochets, ricochet zones, or absorb zones, so it's not really an option. You can't really shoot there reliably and go through. And I think the rear drive wheel weak point has been removed. So yeah, this thing went from being probably the worst overall tier premium in the game, well, maybe not worse than the little bit, but it went from being the worst armored tier 8 heavy that's supposed to have some armor, like its selling point was its amazing upper plate, to having probably better overall armor than the IS-6. I honestly believe that there, it probably has better armor overall than the IS-6 now. Kind of interesting considering they did a similar sort of thing with the Jagdtiger 88, where they buffed its speed and they buffed its, when they changed the HD, they buffed its speed and allowed it to keep its overall like monstrous armor. So kind of interesting how that happens. Every time they remove a premium, it seems that they will typically buff them after people can't buy them anymore, which is kind of weird but kind of interesting at the same time. Now, you might be wondering, how the hell are you supposed to kill one of these things now whenever you're getting 220 automatic bounce zones, 4% chance of pen here, 25% chance in that one little tiny area, which I may not be able to find again. 48% chance, but that's fucking tiny. How are you going to hit that? But yeah, this thing here, the only real weak points this thing has left, whenever it's angled, say like, oh jeez, I just thought, this thing reverse side scraping. This thing reverse side scraping will be an absolute, well, maybe not. That's about as low as the gun can get. Okay, maybe reverse side scraping may not be that much of a threat, but yeah. Overall, this thing here has probably the best overall tier 8 premium armor. I mean, people thought the KV5 buff was too much. This thing here got the biggest buff of a premium I've seen in a long time. I can't think of the last buff to a premium that was this big. Oh, I got sidetracked. The way to kill these things is still the same as before. 2 150 zones here and here on the cupolas. So they're still rounded, but you can hit them from pretty much any angle. And if you had the back, just shoot the back. But Yeah, this thing is going to be a total monster now. And this is not a machine that you just laugh at when you see in the battlefield anymore. You need to take it seriously. You can't just go through it like butter anymore, because I'm pretty sure in the past the upper plate was 120 and the lower plate was 80, along with the side armor being 80. This thing has gotten one of the most dramatic buffs I've ever seen. And here I'm just going to show off, like, this thing here doesn't even have 100 side armor anywhere. There's 120 up here, but no one ever shoots there. Uh, this thing only has like 90 armor most places, whereas this thing here gets 100. Just showing off the overall like insanity of this thing's armor now. It's 10 millimeters thicker side armor wise than the tier 10, 20 millimeters thicker lower plate wise than the tier 10 as well. So the only real weak points frontally this thing has now are the cupolas, so it's kind of like a UKTD, but nowhere near as big. Yeah, this thing is going to become an absolute monster to people who have it. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.